What could possibly go wrong? That's what y'all call
What
it?
could possibly go wrong?
Hey.
Who knows?
So it's crazy, it's wild.
This is Culinary Crossings. Join us on our first tour through Europe as we embark on this amazing culinary adventure with our culinary team, TJ, Jeremy, and me, Megan. Our goal is simple: travel, taste, and learn. Let's go. Oslo, the capital of Norway, sits on the country's southern coast. It's known for its green spaces and many museums. Nydalen is a gastropub with delicious food and their own microbrewery in the middle of the restaurant. The assistant brewer Matt Thomas from New Jersey showed us around.
Explain to us a little bit of the day-to-day job.
For me as assistant brewer, usually I'm in charge of brewing the beer, and sometimes I'm doing stuff like cleaning out the copper, CIPing all the tanks, because in a brewery, if it's not clean, then your beer just goes bad. So cleaning is essential.
He first got into brewing as a home brewer when he moved to Norway, simply because the price of beer here is crazy.
This beer is so expensive. I don't know if you guys have noticed.
Everything.
Yeah, everything, but especially the beer because of the alcohol tax.
Yeah.
Once your beer is above 4.7% alcohol by volume, they tax it 25%.
Really?
Wow.
So most of what you're paying is just taxes.
It's just normal alcohol.
Yeah, but for them normal is between 2.5% and 4.7%.
That's Coors Light,
Wow.
man.
Yeah, I know. Most of the beer that's like 10% from them, they export to America because they're the biggest buyers. Nydalen was huge in America before it got big here. Now people are just realizing beer's a thing. So I think people are getting in touch with this old love of beer.
Do you have a signature beer that you make here?
Amundsen Pale Ale. That's our beer.
Do y'all sell food here?
Yeah, we sell food. Our burgers are really popular, but we do like regular pub food.
What kind of local beers you got offer? What's y'all's popular beers here?
Like right now we got pale ale, a saison, IPA, another pale ale, another pale ale, another IPA, and then this beer we just brewed on Friday the 13th, part of Oslo Beer Week. It's called What Could Possibly Go Wrong.
There you go.
And we asked all the brewers from around Oslo to come down here, have a big brew day with everybody, big collaboration.
Yeah.
Just bring an ingredient. That's all we asked from people. And then like first person came in, licorice. That could be used in beer. Cardamom. Okay, those two together. Could still coffee. I don't know where this is going. Ginger. Somebody brought in mushrooms.
Mushroom.
Yeah. And we had mushrooms in the mash.
Good
And you guys want to try it?
Yeah,
But
why
it's still,
not?
it's
Down to
still
taste it.
fermenting. It's still fermenting. It's only a few days old. So it's a little sweet still.
This is what could possibly go wrong. That's what y'all call
What
it?
could possibly go wrong?
Hey.
Who knows?
So we're drinking this. It hasn't been fully fermented yet because the yeast hasn't had a chance to eat up all the sugar yet. So that's why we're tasting a lot of the sweeter
Very
flavors
sweet.
of it.
I actually like
I'm actually.
But yeah, we could probably drink this.
I'm picking up some sort of citrus note.
Was that the weirdest beer you ever created?
I make a ton of weird beers at home. I have a beer series based on Game of Thrones.
Thank God.
And it's like I'm making a beer for each house, and like for that I made some very, very weird
Awesome.
beers. Like there's one with seaweed and black sea salt, and it's gonna be sour, so sour and salty and weird.
So that's where you get, I guess, if you're asked where you get inspiration to craft new beers, Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Yep.
Perfect.
That's it.
Give us another example of another weird beer you've created.
The one I just bottled right now is cloudberries, which is like a delicacy in Norway. They're called malted, and they add it to cream, and it's a really amazing dessert.
Next, Matt walked us through the brewing process.
This is our malt room. We use all of our malt from Germany. It's Wireman. We grind it in the mill right here. It gets sent up this red pipe called an auger, and it gets sent up down like a chute. It's blended with hot liquor, 79-degree water. But in brewing we call it liquor. I don't know why. It sits in here for an hour, called the mashing process, and it's just like a thick porridge of malts and hot liquor. It's just converting all the starches from the grains into sugars. And then it gets sent back into the copper. Basically a giant home brewery. There's nothing fancy about this system. You have to like eyeball everything. There's nothing telling you when something's finished. It is really old school. I think it's a little bit more difficult to make like the same beer over and over again. We were just brainstorming one day, me and John, and we were thinking, what could we make for like a light, easy drinking beer? And John's like, I want a simple recipe. We'll use one hop, we'll use one malt. What type of hop do we use? And I said, let's use something English because American hops are used so much, especially in Norway. You're not going to find many like old English beers here because America is like the in thing. So then he suggested, Bramling Cross, which has this like black currant flavor. So then that's what we went with.
So the temperature-wise, this beer is obviously really cold and refreshing.
Yeah.
When we went to Harlem at that brewery, they were talking about how a good beer doesn't need to be cold to get more of the flavor out of it. Is that the case here?
It depends on the style.
Okay.
So if you have a really heavy dark imperial stout, that's like really high in alcohol, dark flavors. If you have it really cold, you're gonna mask all those flavors. The warmer the beer is, I mean, there's a certain point where it gets disgusting, but you want like 50, 55 degrees for like the heavy dark beers.
Okay.
And for a beer like this is still a little bit too cold for a beer like this. I think I would go like 45 degrees, I think. Yeah, this is our Saison. Both these beers are 4.7%.
It's really nice, man. Totally different from that last beer.
It's
Yeah.
totally different, taste.
Saison is like an old Belgian style of beer. It was given to farm workers, supposed to be like really refreshing. Part of what makes it special is the yeast. The yeast is like really spicy, and we want to complement that by adding more spices to it. So we added black pepper and coriander, and you could you get the pepper in the like right in the finish. It's like a little spicy, but it's really nice, really refreshing. And this one's really good for sitting out in the sun.
What kind of food do you like?
I think my favorite Norwegian food is called pinnekjøtt, and it means stick meat, and it's ribs of lambs, and it's salted, and they eat it at Christmas time.
Yeah.
And it's smoked and salted, and it's like bacon, and it's just like beautiful, fatty. You get really drunk drinking akvavit and Christmas beer, and then you eat this heavy, awful for you food, and it's amazing.
Those perfect together. All right, so what is this beer that we're drinking?
This is like a darker.
This is the IPA I was talking about before.
Okay.
It's made with Cascade, Centennial, Chinook, Citra.
Jesus, man. That is weird.
Yeah, it's intensely bitter.
So this is something you could drink just slightly warmer.
Yeah,
than
this is a little bit cold, but the coldness is probably actually like subduing how bitter it actually is.
This I don't think I've ever had a beer this bitter
Yeah.
and interesting.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what is that aftertaste?
It's definitely the hops.
The hops, yeah.
They take different forms in IPA. It could be like mango and passion fruit. It could be like rosewater. It could be many different things with hops.
To me, it's definitely grassy.
Grassy.
Yeah.
Definitely grassy.
That's the hops.
It's one of the most bitter beers I've ever had.
I think our beers are based a lot on beers back home. Especially John, even though he's English, he's influenced heavily by America. And whenever he asks for my opinion, I obviously have a bit of a lean towards the American flavor too. So he's like, how much hops should we add? We should add a lot, right? I'm like, no, we should have more than a lot, yeah. Neat little fact about Norway. You can't advertise alcohol at all.
Really?
Like to a ridiculous extent. You can't even mention it on your Facebook page. If you're a brewer, you can't mention the word beer.
What? Why?
Yeah, because then it's advertising.
So y'all can't have Facebook page?
We have a Facebook page. We just can't write about our
beer.
Our beer.
Well, what's the purpose of that?
Yeah, why did they do that?
I think in the 90s and 80s they had a really hardcore Christian government, and they made all these ridiculous laws. But I mean, I agree for a lot of it. Like, even though I'm in the industry, I don't want to see brewery advertisements on TV. But what I do think is ridiculous, we should be able to write the word beer on our Facebook page and like tell people what we make. I think so. They just said that they're trying to change it.
Quite strict and ridiculous.
Yeah. Before we got our Facebook page taken apart, I ran our blog and I came up with this idea. Let's do a Facebook vote for Oslo Beer Week. Have everybody suggest a type of beer, and then we'll make that beer. And some idiot suggested that we make a raspberry cinnamon stout.
What?
And I was like, don't worry, Tom. He's the head brewer down at Amundsen. He's like, don't worry, nobody's going to vote for that one. Everybody voted. Yeah.
So y'all made it?
We made it. And it came out really tasty.
I
And I want you guys to try it. And yeah, that's my favorite beer that we've made so far, I think. It's crazy, it's wild.
Yeah. All right, yeah, let's do it.
So that's the AV People's Choice.
This is the People's Choice.
People's choice. I think that's usually the most popular ones, is the weirdest combination, right?
Yeah, cheers, guys.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.
You
That is good.
You get a lot of the raspberry.
Yeah.
We put a little bit of lactose sugar in it. So it's like that's something that's going to be sweet even after the yeast are done doing their business. That sweetness stays in the beer. We also use oats, which gives it like a creamy texture. So it's like a nice blend of something sour, something sweet, and something kind of desserty.
I'm tasting the raspberry up front.
The raspberry is the first thing you take, or you get. It starts out with the raspberry, it ends with a coffee-like taste. I've never been interested in beer, but we've tried like 4 different types of beer here, and I can tell a distinct flavor in each one that we have tasted. And it's weird to me. I don't know. It's a good experience.
So when you begin a recipe, do you have a flavor in mind that you want at the end product, or do you just go off on a whim?
No, we definitely have an idea where we want the end product to be. For this beer, we based it on 2 recipes. Me and John homebrewed 2 different batches of beer, same concept, strong imperial style with raspberries and licorice. And then Tom, the other brewer, he put those recipes together and he got this one. He just replaced the licorice with cinnamon.
I'm tasting it. I'm trying to find the cinnamon.
Don't get the cinnamon so much.
Yeah, I don't get the cinnamon.
What would you say that smells like?
For me, it's like straight up raspberry and maybe some chocolate, some dark chocolate.
Yeah.
If you could brew a certain type of beer with no regards to like cost, production, or sales, which beer would it be?
I think I would just make a double IPA because we haven't done that yet, and we've been talking about making a double IPA for some time.
That would be something. I
Like
think
a
I would like that.
9%.
Good.
The flagship beer.
Skull, guys.
Skål! Skål!
He hooked us up. He gave us like so many samples. He let us try.
We got tipsy there, man.
Oh,
We
yeah,
got tipsy.
definitely. And it was very interesting. He was explaining the process. We got to see the inside and the process that they brew the beers in. And that was
I mean,
a
he-
learning
Cool, yeah.
experience just for me.
He gave us so many beers, from pales to IPAs.
IPAs.
Then we went into dark stouts, and then some summer beers as well. Really floral, really citrusy. I think my favorite there was that dark stout. That was just a deep flavor and a chocolate coffee finish. I love that.
That's probably the IPA, wasn't it?
No, that was a stout.
I
That
did
was a
not
stout.
care for that one. Yeah.
And that concluded our night.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to Culinary Crossings YouTube page for more videos.